We naturally look for danger in the dark alleys and locked doors of our neighborhoods, but a predator operating in the open, shielded by the absolute trust of their community, has the ultimate advantage. They can comfortably sit in the front pew, teaching Sunday school to your children. Brenda Andrew and Melissa Huckabee were pillars of their respective churches. They were deeply involved in their congregations, taught weekly children's classes, and carried unblemished public publications built over years of community service. Behind that wholesome facade, they left a trail of devastation. One orchestrated the brutal execution of her own husband. The other took the life of an innocent 8-year-old girl who lived just a few trailers down from her own home. When a community collectively decides someone is good, they stop looking for warning signs. That unquestioning faith provides perfect camouflage. It allows killers to plan and execute their crimes in plain sight, protected by neighbors who simply refuse to suspect the person smiling at them every Sunday morning. By late 2001, Brenda Andrews' marriage to her husband Rob had completely deteriorated. They were legally separated, largely because Brenda was carrying out a brazen, highly visible affair with James Pavatt, a man who taught Sunday school right alongside her at North Point Baptist Church. Rob knew he was in danger. Just a month before he died, someone purposefully severed his car's brake lines. On that exact same day, he received a hoax phone call claiming Brenda was in a critical accident, urging him to rush to a hospital 30 miles away. The caller clearly hoped Rob would experience a fatal crash on the highway. On November 20th, Rob went to his former home to relight a furnace pilot light in the garage. Within moments, gunshots rang out. Brenda dialed 911, claiming 2 masked intruders had ambushed them, shooting Rob twice with a 16-gauge shotgun and wounding her in the arm with a .22 caliber pistol. This 3D diagram illustrates the physical impossibility of her story. Forensic investigators analyzed Brenda's clothing and found high-velocity blood spatter, which is a mist of microscopic blood droplets created by a close-range gunshot, located entirely below her knees. DNA testing confirmed this was Rob's blood, proving Brenda was standing at point-blank range when her husband was killed. The motive was highly lucrative. Months earlier, Rob had removed Brenda as the beneficiary of his $800,000 life insurance policy, but shortly after his death, investigators discovered a new form listing Brenda as the sole recipient. A handwriting expert meticulously reviewed the paperwork and proved the document was a forgery. The expert caught the forgery by noticing a specific missing detail. Rob had a strict habit of drawing a small fish symbol next to his name on official documents. This symbol, known as the ichthys, is a recognizable Christian design that resembles a fish profile. The forged document lacked this entirely. Brenda went to extreme lengths to physically stage a home invasion, even taking a bullet to her own arm, but she and Pavatt were undone by the microscopic realities of forensic science and the subtle, daily habits of the man they murdered. 8 years later in Tracy, California, another tight-knit community was thrown into a panic. 8-year-old Sandra Cantu vanished from her local trailer park, prompting a massive, desperate search by local law enforcement and volunteers. The search came to a horrifying end when a passerby spotted a suitcase sitting at the edge of an irrigation stream. Inside that luggage, police found Sandra's body. Sandra's neighbor, Melissa Huckabee, immediately inserted herself into the investigation. She proactively called the police to report that her own suitcase had been stolen. Shortly after, she approached officers, claiming she had miraculously found a piece of paper on the ground, detailing the exact location where the body was dumped. During her police interrogation, Melissa tried to outsmart the detectives. She leaned heavily on her 2 years of college education in criminal justice, actively attempting to steer the conversation. She theorized that sick perverts must have abducted the girl, hoping the police would focus entirely on looking for a male suspect. The investigation took a sharp turn when detectives executed a search of Melissa's home. They discovered a standard spiral-bound notebook with several pages torn out. When crime lab technicians analyzed the blank pages underneath the torn sheets, they found microscopic indentations of a single letter, an N. This indentation perfectly matched the handwriting and alignment of the word stolen on the note Melissa supposedly found on the street, completely destroying her alibi. The physical evidence continued to mount. Toxicology reports, which analyze bodily fluids for foreign drugs, confirmed that Sandra had been drugged prior to her death. The substance in her system was the exact dosage of a prescription anxiety medication that Melissa took daily. Cornered by the facts, Melissa confessed to secure a plea deal and avoid the death penalty. Melissa believed her baseline knowledge of criminology would allow her to manipulate the narrative. Instead, her attempts to stage evidence and feed detectives false leads provided the exact roadmap they needed to prove her guilt. Melissa Huckabee was sentenced to spend the rest of her life in a California prison. Brenda Andrew, after initially fleeing to Mexico with her children, was captured at the border. She was convicted and sentenced to die, becoming the only woman on Oklahoma's death row. Both of these killers operated under a profound arrogance. They assumed their positions as devout, trusted community members would act as an impenetrable shield against standard forensic and psychological scrutiny. The crimes committed in Tracy, California and Oklahoma City left lasting scars on their communities. They forced neighbors to confront a terrifying reality. Predators do not always hide in the shadows. Sometimes they smile at you from the front pew.